Hello everybody and welcome to this very specific corner of my mind. Today is dress shirt and pajamas day, so, you know, that's how you know you're an adult. So I've been thinking about Zelda recently, or to be honest, I've been thinking about Zelda ever since I first discovered it. So as I revisit and reframe the way that I think about the series, I've arrived at a question that I would like to share with you guys. But first, of course, the bias breakdown. Okay, sure. So Zelda is a series that I adore and have great respect for, and although I think that I do a good job at eventually becoming relatively objective when thinking about the series, I have to admit that it takes me a bit longer than usual to get there with this series. I am a child of the 3D Zelda games. I have not yet beat Link to the Past, although I've played the first 5 hours of it many times. I know this is my fault and not a fault of the games. In some ways, I think I'm intimidated by the prospect of beating Link to the Past. Majora's Mask is my favorite game in the series. I also think it's the most well-designed of all the Zelda games that I have played, so I think that's something you should know. Also, I beat Ocarina of Time 7 times before I actually bought it, so I feel like that's also something you should be aware of when I talk about Zelda. Alright, that's it. Can you get off my face now? Thank you. Hi. It's, strangely orange on the other side of that graphic. There's just so much to say about the Zelda series that I have fantasized on multiple occasions of putting together curriculum to really get across how, in many ways, this is a series that has visionary and unmatched game design. But at the same time, to be able to give it such high praise, I need to recognize where it falters, and I think that one of its biggest downsides is intrinsically tied to the fact that video games need to sell well to continue to get made. I actually think that in some ways capitalist competition can be a good thing for video games, but Nintendo's had a hard time trying to figure out how to bring new players into the fold without watering down their gameplay experiences. The most obvious example of this in the Zelda series is the inexcusably slow openings of the 3D games, with Twilight Princess being the worst offender. But that's a conversation for a different day, and there are significant signs that Nintendo is making progress in this area, and that the new Zelda for Wii U will go back to the way of letting gameplay and the world tell most of the story instead of cutscenes and frustratingly simple tutorials. I'm not just saying that as a seasoned gamer either. People are smart, and Zelda games are just begging to be explored, and this free-form exploration is usually where most of the magic is found. Okay, it's hard to keep this focused when I have so much that I want to say about this series, but let's bring this back to the beginning and ask you guys the question that I've been thinking about. Do you think that Zelda games should require more skill to complete? In most, if not all, recent Zelda games, it's possible to rush through it without ever discovering what the game truly has to offer. Is this a flaw? I honestly can't decide. On one hand, I like that the games give you back what you put into it. That's a core component of what makes the JRPG my favorite video game genre. But on the other hand, it seems to go against how I've been thinking about game design recently. I sometimes feel that being an experienced gamer is the biggest roadblock in appreciating a new Zelda game. So much of it seems familiar, and so much of it is familiar, that sometimes it takes a while to notice what is different and what needs to be discovered. Making these elements mandatory to beat the game would take away that discovery element that makes Zelda what it is, but making them optional feels like the lazy solution in making the game more accessible for new players. I very much want to talk more specifically about Zelda games, but I'm going to stop here this time. I want to leave this open-ended. So give me your thoughts on Zelda game design. I know people have a lot to say about this series, and I'd love some new thoughts to chew on. Until next time, don't stick it up. Come on, SpongeBob. We're out of here.